Our sponsors for this episode are Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Gambino's Pizza in Newton is located at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village. They are open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you love pizza as much as I do, you know that you always have time and room for pizza. Not only can you dine in or carry out, but they have a huge menu of items to pick from, including wings, pizzas, salad bar, and not only that, but they have the only pizza buffet in Newton. If you're looking for a family-friendly environment or just need to stop in for a quick lunch over the noon hour, Gambino's has got you covered. Visit Gambino's Pizza in Newton at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village, or give them a call at 316-866-1778. That's 316-866-1778 to order out or ask questions. You can even order online. Look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and a share. Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater, located at 114 South Kansas Avenue in Newton, is one of Newton's best kept secrets. Or maybe you know about them and have already stopped in or carried out some of the most delicious Mexican food in our region. If you're just hearing about them, you need to give them a try. If you're a repeat customer, you'll already know why. Give Carlos's Kitchen and Cater a call at 316-804-0158. That's 316-804-0158. Or you can stop into 114, that's 114 South Kansas Avenue. Make sure to look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and share. And don't forget, folks, tell your friends. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this HCTalk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and our 2 special guests, my co-partners in crime. I don't know if I can call you special anymore. Are Andy special. Ortiz, local businessman and entrepreneur, and Chad Fry, as we affectionately know, as the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan paper. How you both doing today?
I'm good, man.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Chad?
Just another day, man.
Chad is footloose and fancy free, as they say.
Sure.
As they say.
Sure.
We're here, and Andy is here with his bells and his whistles on, I would say, today.
Yep, jingling. I should have put bells on.
That would have been cool. That, you know what? For a gaudy sweater or one that, an ugly sweater day. Not saying your sweater's ugly, Andy, or anything.
One of my favorite ones. I've had this for like 10 years.
Somehow I don't know why, but I'm having the urge to start singing Santa Baby.
Santa Baby.
So there you go. I don't know.
Hey, and you got to do it in your best singing voice.
No.
I was going to say your sexiest singing voice, Chad.
I reserved that for the song Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer, which I used to serenade Steven Johnson, who was my sponsor for Men in Tights.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, got to go back in time a little bit for that one.
I love it. Okay, so
I make a very ugly woman.
Before we get into the program...
Wrong one.
Now you just got us copyrighted, Andy. Damn it.
We didn't play it long enough. They shouldn't ding us.
Hey, okay, we got us down track because I was just going to say, I was going to mention something about, like, as, the world of digital media. What do we got?
Okay. If they don't know, they don't know.
All right.
Santa Baby. That's like the most sensual strange.
Yeah.
We close in
let's
here.
have a romance with Santa, But then again, as we all know, we're not going to burst any bubble for any young people that might listen to this podcast, or somebody that thinks that maybe, the whole Santa thing. So, yeah.
There's all types out there.
Cover your kids' ears. I still believe. So, okay. Real quick before we get into the program, I was reading. Obviously, I'm always trying to stay on top of things, right? And so I was reading about what can get a person demonetized, and there's some things going on with different entities and people and podcasters, and strangely enough, all across the board, that might be something I want to talk about next week on the program, because I'm doing a little bit of research on it, but. If you say KILL, if you talk about any kind of self-harm, we know the word, right? If you say anything that might be against one political entity or another, if you say something against a nation or a nation state, you're quite likely to just have the algorithms, AI, go over your transcript, because that's what it does in a blink of an eye, and then decide, nope, we're putting this off to the side. Nope, we're putting that off to the side. So some of the things that we even talk about it might be the reason some of our stuff doesn't get the kind of viewership that...
Is it why we're still broke?
Well, I mean...
I'll be honest, I'm not going to be able to pay for my health insurance next year, so,
God. That could be something Chad could talk about on the program next week. Or maybe this week. But, okay, so anything that took place over the Thanksgiving that you all wanted to talk about, memorable moments or things that you were able to enjoy, any memories made, fellas?
Not anything good that I want to talk about, to be honest.
But you got some pumpkin pie that was homemade, yes.
No. No, we may have started a new tradition when it comes to pumpkins. Wow. My birthday was right in front of Thanksgiving this year. And my birthday was, as it often is, incredibly anticlimactic within my family. And we were sitting at the dinner table that evening, and I'll be honest, I was having a hard time keeping it all together. I turned 55, which is a speed limit. And for the first time in my life, I didn't get a call from my father on my birthday.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that was a real struggle, and so I was staring at Thanksgiving just a few days away, and one of the things that came up at the dinner table on my birthday is what are we doing for Thanksgiving? Well, my mother was going to go out to my sister's house for a small Thanksgiving. And, all of us kids kind of said, there's no way Mom's going to be alone on Thanksgiving this year. And so I announced that, and then my kids were like, well, we're still going to do a turkey, and we're still going to have mashed potatoes, and we're still going to have the gravy, and we're still going to have the stuffing, and we're still going to have, and I'm looking around that table, and I went, you know what, straight up, if that's what you guys want, y'all got to help me. I can't do that by myself. And I said, it's not a physical thing, this is an emotional thing, because I'm sitting here on my birthday, and I haven't heard from my dad for the first time in 55 years, and it's hurting. So my daughter took that to heart, and on Wednesday she made a pumpkin dessert. Not really a pumpkin bread, but not necessarily pumpkin bars, but kind of a cross between the two, and it was freaking good. So I guess, if there's something to think about or whatever from Thanksgiving, and is that, and I posted this to my personal Facebook page, that when we sat down to eat our Thanksgiving dinner in my house, I had made the turkey. I got up at 5 a.m. to do it because it was still frozen. I made the turkey. That was the only thing I had to make. So my youngest kid made mashed potatoes. My oldest made the stuffing. My daughter made the dessert. I guess I made the cream corn, but that was just thrown in a crock pot. Not a big deal.
Do you think
So that's my Thanksgiving kind of in a nutshell.
Do you think, Chad, just something that to piggyback on what you're saying? I wonder how many people do have a difficult time when they come upon a holiday and maybe a loved one or somebody's not there. So then all of a sudden, it's different. But I also hear some optimism and a potential for your family to now pick up. And I could see year after year after year how you just do that together as a family.
Yeah.
And then they're going to add people, right? As they get older, there's going to be, significant others that are added. And then after that, there's going to be grandbabies that are added. And one time, because we all have a life and we all only get to live so long, maybe somebody's going to be sitting back going, man, this is the first Thanksgiving without my dad, Chad. So, Andy?
I play too much. All right, that was sweet and play enough. We did.
Chad's now 55.
No, man, it was fantastic. I had a sister come in from San Antonio, and honestly, we don't talk as much as we should. My little sister and me. I left when she was like 5, so and she's really close. And her and my sister that is kind of like one of my person is literally lives across the street from me. They talk all the time, and so anyways, we all got together and did the sibling thing and spent time together with my nephew and niece that I don't see or talk to very much. That came up, and it was a real cool 3 days pretty much of just family. Yeah. I would do some work in the mornings because my work never stops, but I would get up really early and work till about 7:30 and then start my coffee and family time. Yeah. And so those 3 days for me, I don't get that often, so it was really nice. Yeah. So I enjoyed it, man. We had all the stuff and got together with my brother-in-law and his family, who I love to death, and we did a big old thing at my sister's house. And I will say the night that my sister was leaving, because she was here for about 5 or 6 days, my brother-in-law kind of looks at me and goes, "Next year, your house, right?" I'm like, it's all good with me, man. Yes. Like, I'm good with that. Yeah, we can do that. But they had planned everything. My sisters did what they do, and I was basically just showing up. So, showing up with something. I did a nice homemade pumpkin cheesecake from Bread Basket.
Now that will not be an option next year. So there you go.
I gotta ask. Did you take it out of the package and everything that had any branding on it and put it in your own dish and then be like, "Hey, here you go. This is what I got."
I really thought about it.
Table.
I'm that bad. Like, I thought about it because I was like, they're gonna know I did nothing. I brought like beer, soda, and Bread Basket. That was my Thanksgiving. I usually do a turkey and the whole deal. Like, usually that's on me. And this year I didn't do it, but I still got my turkey leg.
I was gonna ask.
I got my turkey leg. I got mashed potatoes. They weren't my aunt's mashed potatoes, but I got those, and I tried my best to do it how she does it with a bunch of butter to make it look literally yellow. And that's how I like it, man.
I love it.
And but no, it was all good, man. We just watched football, hung out together as a family, and I got that time that I work my rear off and risk a lot of stuff. And I literally, in times in my life, bet the farm on things that I do. Yeah. And I, having to create, private equity's tough.
Yeah.
Because it's private, and everything you do is on you. And I don't have, the retirements and the health cares and all that's on me. Everything's on me all the time. And so for me to be able to let that go for 3 days is a big deal. Yeah. So my mind runs too fast sometimes all the time, and we've got a lot of things going on in my life right now where we're transitioning and changing things, and companies that I'm involved with and the things that they're doing, and it requires a lot from me and a lot of focus. And for me to be able to just go, this is why I do it, so I can watch my family enjoy a event like that, it's way worth it to me. Yeah. So
I was kind of surprised that Andy didn't wear his Cowboys jersey.
yeah. Good stuff.
So for all you
Thank you for the
Chiefs
idea.
fans, the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day did beat the Chiefs, as we all know. So with saying all of that, Chad, what is in the Kansan or has been in the Kansan that you'd like to let everybody know about?
Wow. Well, to be honest, this is not a good time for me to recall a lot because that Thanksgiving week, so like the Saturday paper, usually I would sit here and talk about something that was in the Saturday paper. That was done almost a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Because of print schedules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, one of the dirty little secrets when it comes to holidays, one of the dirty little secrets of my business and industry is that journalists are the only ones who don't get days off. Everybody else gets days off. And in order to precipitate that, journalists have to do everything way in advance, and we've got to crunch it out fast. What we normally do in a week, we've got to do in a couple of days.
So you set automatic to the best of your ability to be able to meet all those needs and still even stay a little bit open to something that might shift.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's a news story big enough, or
something big breaks. I mean, a bomb drops somewhere in Harvey County on Friday. I'm toast because my Saturday has been done for days already, and there's nobody to get it into the print. Now I could do stuff for online, but there's nobody to get it into the print.
Yeah.
But when you've run that kind of a sprint, straight up, Friday rolls around, I'm wiped.
I get it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, there was something in the Kansan that.
We had the formation of a new political group.
Yeah, I see. You stole my thunder.
I'm stealing your thunder.
I read that and I thought.
Let me give you something that's coming up. that is. I got two things that I'm working on today. Well, three, but I got two things I'm working on today and tomorrow. One is that I've run across someone who just got diagnosed with a form of skin cancer, but because of life, the universe, and the way things work, they have no health insurance. And they've been trying to navigate this whole thing financially, and that ain't easy. So that's
even with health insurance.
Well, yeah, even with insurance, it's difficult. I mean, one of those dirty secrets about insurance is any specialist you want to go see has to be pre-authorized by your insurance company. They honestly don't care what your primary care doctor said.
Yeah.
They are going to pre-authorize specialists, and I fought that battle firsthand. I mean, I can't even. It takes hours to go through and unpack what happened to my family when my wife needed a valve replacement on her heart. I mean, the battle with the insurance company was years.
Yeah. Well, and I can even say this, and on my own personal situation, you guys know, I had a medical situation take place, and it wiped me out. It took me from a blue-collar, middle-class worker and family to poverty overnight.
Yep.
Overnight.
Yep.
Overnight.
And so that's the story is how this woman has sort of navigated that system and gotten what she needs. At least to this point, she might have more, but she's gotten a surgery.
Well, you wonder how many people, with everything changing, are going to be at risk of losing everything because of the inability to pay.
I honestly couldn't believe it. I could not believe that one day you wake up.
I sat with my wife. We went through health insurance last week, and I sat with my wife, and we were just looking at it, and I said, I do not know what to do. And
well, the thing to
and
do
she's
is
like,
what families. The reality of what families are going to do is not do it and take the risk because they can't.
well,
Put it
straight up, you know.
Hoping that in a couple years they can get back on or something because
Well,
they can't. We can't afford it right now.
Well, and if
true.
you can so if if I purchase the insurance I can afford, I cannot afford the deductibles, copays, and co-insurances.
I think that's
and the
normal.
maximum out-of-pocket costs.
Yep.
And so I looked right at my wife and I said, I have gone batshit crazy for the last 2 years trying to get us out of debt and trying to avoid bankruptcy. This is
punch.
end game.
Yeah.
This
no
is the
forward
end
motion
game.
after.
Yeah, anything happens.
If one trip to the emergency room,
Checkmate.
we're done. We are done.
And you know, it's-
and I will be filing bankruptcy within 18 months.
Well, and maybe, Chad, okay, so we'll flip this around. I'm not going to peg this as your national topic, but I'm going to say that we could spend another couple minutes here because, you know, the reason this is happening is because of what Congress is doing. Congress's inability to act, regulate, and to... I'm sorry, but I
No.
don't believe that.
No. I will go to my grave fighting this battle. Okay? The only role Congress is playing here is over the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That's the role they're playing.
But those are now gone.
Exactly.
And therefore, that's what's changed your situation
No.
and your dynamics.
No. Because I can't afford to get insurance through my employer for my wife. I can't. The premium is astronomical for insurance that will bankrupt us.
Mm-hmm.
And not only for the premiums, but deductibles, co-pays, and co-insurances. That is not Congress.
But wouldn't you be able to go over to the open enrollment?
That's Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's Cigna. That's United Health. That is private companies who have been raping the American public for decades. You're looking at the guy that was writing about health insurance premiums doubling and tripling, along with co-insurance, co-pays, and out-of-pocket costs doubling and tripling during the George W. Bush administration. Those were private companies that were doing it, and they're still doing it.
So let's just take this down to in my opinion, a micro issue, something smaller that I think will speak to the bigger issue that you're unfolding. So let's just talk about medication prices just by itself. So let's bring it down to an actual something that a lot of people need.
Yeah.
And it's been pushed on us with diets, and we can go real deep into this rabbit trail, but we're just going to keep it superficial just so people can take some context of what we're talking about. Because a lot of people don't think about this stuff because they're really busy doing their everyday lives and ball games, and they try to listen to their favorite music to de-stress, and they have their hobbies, and that's great, right? But we have a responsibility to talk about the layers that exist and why their health insurance is going up. So when you have medications and they're pennies and we're paying hundreds of dollars for one pill in a lot of cases when they cost pennies to make, what causes that, right? And why in other countries are they able to buy that medication for, like, let's just say 15 cents when we're paying $100? Right?
They're buying it cheaper. Yes.
And so when we try to do things to say, hey, we're going to balance this out, why do our leaderships get beat up for doing that?
Well, and going back to, I believe that Congress's inability to act. So I will take it back. Is even though maybe it's not particularly the case in your specific situation, with everything that's happened and everybody being kicked off of the previous health insurance that they had to, okay, we'll call it Obamacare, or even medication prescription costs, or even regulations surrounding the medical industry where something is going to cost 15 times the amount of money in America.
More than that.
Yeah, hundreds of times.
So, yes, hundreds, sometimes thousands.
Yes.
And now, to bring it back to what you're saying, why do the pharmaceutical companies, and we may get doxxed because I just said that.
Yeah, we are.
Where does the biggest amount of their donations go?
To political campaigns.
And what group do they try to control?
Congress.
And what does Congress do with all of those backings and the Elizabeth Warrens that'll tell us to our face what she says, but behind the scenes be getting $2 million a year in donations from them, and then not be able to answer a question officially in public, and then sometimes even lie about it? That's wrong.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of political mess in Washington that's hurting all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, the private companies are taking advantage.
Yes,
so you're not wrong
they
either. They are
And
taking
we
advantage, but they're
need-
lobbying the people that are allowing that stuff to happen to us.
Yes.
And then the people that go in to try to fight and push back, and I'm not saying she's perfect, but like the Marjorie Taylor crazies, right?
Yeah, right.
Because
No, she's gone. So
she's done.
Yep.
She's done because she didn't walk the line.
Yeah.
And she's not going to get the donors, and she knows it. Right? And she's going to make a run for presidency. All this stuff is pretty obvious of what she's going to try to do, and hope there's enough out here. But without the cash and the capital and the support of these big groups, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So let's just say you got a guy like Stephen Owens who pushes back at the state level from that position, which to us is a big deal, but in the big picture, it's not very much push power, given the numbers that we have in Kansas. And a pharmaceutical company, for one little tiny thing, tries to go after him and beat him up and talk trash just to show the other people,
What's going to happen if
look
you open your
what
mouth.
we did for him just for this little thing. Imagine what we'll do to you if you really try to come after us.
Yep.
And they start at that level.
Yes. Yeah.
And
you know,
so-
And you know where this all started, right?
No, I'm not familiar. Educate me, please.
This all started with the Ronald Reagan administration. He deregulated HMOs.
He's a classic car.
love Reagan.
Teach us.
Love Reagan.
Well, and you know,
That goes back to that.
Chad is still winding up his cars.
Yes.
during his administration, I couldn't stand him. But you know, I now can look back. Hindsight is 20/20.
And you see.
And I see that a lot of what he was doing worked, and especially he was an amazing statesman, which we haven't had since.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
in my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, the biggest mistake that Ronald Reagan made was the deregulation of HMOs. What he allowed for was HMOs to move outside of the nonprofit realm to the for-profit realm. And now, nonprofit health insurance does not exist. And now we're sitting here 40 years down the road, and every year we're talking about premiums are doubling. Why? Because they're for-profit companies, and they are beholden to their stockholders, and they are beholden to the profit line.
And
Hard
think about
stop.
this, though. Think about this, okay?
And-
There's also something else here, because the cost of healthcare increases. Let's say you have a Newton Medical
Oh, and-
Center or
and-
NMC,
yes.
or you have this entity, right? And then you have somebody that's in poverty that goes in and gets some services provided for them. If they're unable to pay, then because the way the system is set up, not saying this is the case.
The cost never leaves the system.
The cost never leaves the
Gets
system.
passed on
So
to all
therefore,
of
it gets
us.
passed on, and then because that then pushes up the cost of healthcare, that pushes up the cost of insurance.
And at the same time, insurance companies have forced what's the word I'm looking for? They have forced a self-fulfilling prophecy in the area of cost of care. You have to have 6 billing agents for every 1 doctor.
yeah,
And those
Yeah.
6 billing agents, what do? They negotiate with insurance companies. Okay? If you do not have health insurance and you get services from Newton Medical Center, they have an ambivalence, they have a fund that you can apply for financial help. Okay? I've discussed this a couple of times with the leadership of the hospital that for some of us at our income levels, in all honesty, we might as well not even have health insurance. Because if I go into here's a real number. If I end up in if my wife and I are driving down the road and we end up in a accident and it's our fault, our deductibles, co-insurances, and co-pays are gonna hit somewhere around $17,000, and all income sources in our house combined is less than $60,000 a year. $17,000.
Well, I'm going to say an unpopular opinion.
Who's got that kind of money?
I'm going to say an unpopular opinion. Okay, I was not necessarily for what we would know as Obamacare and what they were trying to do and how they were trying to roll it out. But I also understand that it was trying to fix an issue that continues to grow. And the bubble is popping. We're right now in a situation with healthcare and insurance companies to where it is disastrous for what we would call the middle class. And it is one
in
thing.
The run up to Obamacare, that's what you want to call it. In the run up to the Affordable Care Act,
yeah.
In the run up to that, that's where we were again.
Yeah.
That's where we were.
And then they even had the concept of single payer insurance because, truth be told, okay, here's this. We got to move on from this, but cover some other topics. But you're going to think I'm a socialist when I say this. Okay, I think that there should be no family insurance. I think family insurance should go away. I think that each individual should have their own, as an adult, 18 plus, should have their own health insurance package. That's affordable. It's affordable. For an individual, it's affordable. For a family, it is not affordable. And then from there, I think that from birth to 18, the government should cover every child's health care from 0
for all
to 18. Now, you can, if you have resources, buy a supplemental insurance package for your own private child if that's what you want to do. But other than that, from the time that your child is born at 0 until they turn 18, I think that there should be a government medical card that's provided the government to take care of the health of the child. Because once again, okay, you take children who have nothing to do with their situation. Nothing. They can't do anything about what their mom and dad does. Nothing. We can point the finger and say, well, mom and dad should take care. Well, you know what? There's people that can't. There's people that don't. And then you get into a situation where if we're talking about what we're talking about, well, little Johnny probably needs, or little Susie probably should go to the doctor, but I can't afford that. So now our children are not getting the type of health coverage that they need and the health care that they need based upon the resources of the parent. So call me a socialist, whatever, that would fix the system, let's say, whatever the case may be. And not only that, but I also believe this. If you are somebody that goes into an emergency room, okay, or a healthcare facility, and you have no insurance, all right, that then an insurance is provided for you at that moment, government health insurance. And then at the end of the year, when you file taxes, if they sit there and they say, oh, well, you make X amount of dollars, we're going to take your tax return or a portion of your tax return to pay for the premium that this would be for this health insurance policy. All right, we got to move on, guys. Sorry to that. I know. I just, Chad can argue it, Andy can argue it. I'm making the statement. Tell us what everybody thinks. That's what I believe the future looks like.
I'm going to make a summary statement. I believe what we really, truly need in this country is some form of health insurance reform.
That's the reform, Chad.
It's a reform of the industry. However, it will never happen. And the reason it will never happen is what Andy laid out.
It's a mess up there.
It is a mess.
They're eating off of us.
Yes, and you know what?
And that's a small scale.
They're giving those donations to everybody.
Yeah.
They've bought everybody.
Yeah. Our Congress is not in it for the people anymore. I'm a firm believer. That they are in it for their own special interest.
I'll put a name out there.
You know what? Where did we buy these mics? I got to know where these mics were actually produced, manufactured in this point in time. I got something for some. Boom! No. And we're laughing about it, but this is the reality of the world that we live in.
I watched the guy grow through the system. I watched people that grew up around him who talked about him. Somewhere along the line, Dan Crenshaw went to Washington and changed dramatically within 18 months. And that was one of the biggest heartbreaks in politics that I've experienced. Texas boy, right? With the background that he had, and a warrior, one of the toughest dudes on the planet Earth, right? With what he's endured and what he went through, and a war vet who got injured seriously, who chose to continue to serve his country. And he got bought out, and something is so sleazy and so bad about him now in just a short period of time. And the reality for me set in is, damn me, right? Because who the hell am I if I don't think I could go up there and fend off all of that darkness if somebody like that fell into it? Because I don't know, because I'm not in that situation. And when somebody that I revered and was championing, who I thought, man, maybe this guy would be a good president one day, you know, secretly in my own mind's eye, in my own heart, with my signed copy of the book sitting over here on the shelf. There's still good content in there, but the person and how he's changed, and to look at how his net worth has changed, and to look at him deny in public things that are on paper factually that show that he's literally lying to our faces. It just really breaks my heart.
And they just lie. I mean, okay, so you know what? To hell with whatever we had on here. Okay, national topics all the way.
Let's move on to a new one.
Okay, we can move on to another national topic.
The point has been made, right? We beat it up.
But we'll go into this, okay?
We can't do anything about it, unfortunately, other than teach our kids, watch who you're voting for moving forward, and show up to vote. And even then, so speaking of that, all right, it goes into, and we can transition over to the other national topic that I was wanting to talk about. You know, can we, Andy, there are so many people that are younger, statistically, that believe that their vote doesn't count. That no matter what, I've got this option. I was going to use something else to say. I can't. I don't want to use the profanity. Or I got this option. Okay. So I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. Okay. I voted for Trump. The reason I voted for Trump was because I did not think that Kamala Harris would have been a better president. That doesn't mean I like everything Trump does. That does not mean I like a lot of the things he does. In fact, I like less and less as the months pass by.
It's almost like,
and I was optimistic.
Yes.
And I try to stay there, and it's getting harder.
What happened to America First? What happened to Make America Great Again? No, all this is, it's the same thing that Obama did. Hope and change. Hope and change. I
voted for that bastard
How many
too.
people voted for hope and change? Only to get jack, to get nothing. To have the system continue the same way that it always has, and it will not change. And so then the question is, with our broken system, we can call it a two-party system that's broken. We can say that lobby groups, they're never going to put caps on what lobby groups can have. You know, we talk about draining the swamp. You can't drain the swamp because there's something that's going on in Washington that's becoming more and more apparent and more visible, and they are just giving us the bird.
And that's the opportunity.
They are giving us the bird.
So you said my name, Andy, is there, and I'm going to tell you, our kids, that group, your sons and daughters, my son and daughter, your sons and daughters, they see it. It's on Front Street now.
Yes.
And it's barely 10 years obvious for a lot of people.
Yes.
Right? Including myself, it gets worse.
Yeah, because once you
since 2016, a man like Donald Trump should have never been president.
Agreed.
And now he's president, and he's the big marketing guru genius when it comes to that. And you can go back to the Epstein thing and how all those little pieces were used. And it wasn't him that said it, but he made sure he aligned with the people with the distribution to push the narrative behind him. Because if you look at his top 20 things that he said, it's not on there.
Uncovering the JFK files.
But if you look at the people next to him, all of those things were covered. He knew exactly who he was recruiting and why. He knew exactly who had the platforms and the ears and the microphones with Dan Bongino. And I mean, he did it right.
Yeah, he did.
You can't, I mean, take a lesson.
Yeah.
But he should have never, a man like that should have never been president. And the fact that he had to jump in there in his mind's eye and do it and did it and won and is spanking the hell out of everybody by just basically making a mockery of our system.
Yes.
He's also exposing to us the blessing of Donald Trump is this is a big show.
Yeah.
And you guys are all being taken.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm one of them.
Yeah. Well, we are. We're all beholden. I mean, what do you do? That goes back to if I get elected to Congress, let's say, or it doesn't matter who gets elected to Congress. It doesn't matter who the executive branch puts into these director positions. Kash Patel. I mean, talk about a failure. Okay.
Same thing as the other guy.
Yeah.
Him and Comey are two in the same at this point.
Yeah.
At this point.
And then, we'll go after you, but then all of a sudden we can't. It's like this circus, and it's just this.
My side is bigger and stronger than your side till your side takes power. And then we're going to show you by using the same tactics.
Yes.
But here's the silver lining, I think. And this is what I believe. And I think I have to have hope. The game is up. It's like the Ant movie. We're seeing it. And we're starting to look to our left and our right and going, yeah, they have some different politics, but they're good damn humans. What is keeping us from joining together? And that conversation is very new for a lot of us, including me. And so when you realize that we're in this vortex or this matrix where the system is manipulating us to the point of separating, their experiment on us is masterful. You literally got a 50-50 split. And up there, they're laughing all the way to the bank. And they're doing it for such little crumbs in the big picture. Few million here, few million there. For them, it's all they need to be big dogs and to be comfortable and for their families to say, oh, my person is awesome. They're taking care of our family. But they're giving hundreds of billions of dollars of access to companies and systems that are eating off of us. And they're not smart enough to even realize what their seat is really worth. And honestly, those lobbyists will move them out so quick, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she sees the writing on the wall. She knew she wasn't gonna. They were gonna smear her with affairs and all that. She wasn't putting her family through that. And you know what? Trump is the mastermind of all of it. At this point, he is the leader of the United States. And what has he done to fix that part? Now he has exposed it for the showman that he is, but has he fixed it?
I don't know if there's a way to fix it.
I don't think he will.
I'm convinced now.
But this goes
I said
back
18
to,
months.
Yeah.
And we're going on about 13 now.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was very optimistic. And to see Kash and Dan Bongino and that whole part of what they've been doing.
Pam Bondi even. Yeah.
All the same stuff that was happening. Now, did Comey do some shady crap? Yes. Is it right? No. But then why does Kash get to do it and then it'd be okay all of a sudden?
Because people drink the Kool-Aid. You know, you ask.
I'm done with that. But I think there's a lot of people like us.
Well, and you know, Andy, not to be negative, and I appreciate your optimism, and I want to believe in that. I truly want to believe that is the case. But I also ask the question: how are we going to get out of the situation where people, individuals, our neighbors, know damn good and well we want to use the system to dictate what we want onto everybody else.
Our kids are seeing it. And this is that, don't believe in Andy, because I'm a knucklehead and I can switch gears real quick. And I do it sometimes because I learn and I try to do better, and then I realize I still was in the wrong. But I'm trying. A lot of people don't even do that. My kids, I have hope there. And their friends, I have hope there. I sat and listened to my daughter talking to two of her friends on the phone at her bedroom door the other day. On speakerphone. That's a beautiful group of humans. They're not perfect, but they're not hiding. And they're smart. And they get it. And they feel and see things differently. And I have a lot of hope that group's going to fix it. And that's all I can do is put my trust in them. and raise the best two humans that I can raise for me with all my mess and launch them to go do better.
And right now, I think optimism, okay? I do agree with you that the future generation is going to be a game changer. But I also think that we're not the only ones that see this, right? The infamous they, okay, also see it. And I'm not sure that they will even be able to have the same game, be playing the same game with the same rules 20 years from now that we are today. And I go back to this. The government will never let a good crisis go to waste. If you notice any major event that's taken place in our world, especially on American soil, 9/11, Oklahoma City, any of these things that took place, the only thing that happened was our Congress and governmental entities and systems utilized that event to take more of our rights away.
So we know that they're the FBI, they're the CIA, and they're Congress.
Yes.
And they're all the lobbying groups that keep them in power. So we kind of know the systems, the structure systems. Those things eventually will be dealt with. And I think our kids will begin pounding on those doors and breaking those walls down to fix our society.
And by doing so, does then that turn into a reason for there to be more restriction on your ability to go against those entities? See, and that's the thing I'm talking about is, so let's say people storm out into the streets, okay? And then, we can't be having that. We're going to stop that from happening. You no longer have a right to protest. You don't have a right to free speech.
Kind of like Europe.
Well, I mean, and not only that, but right now there's some really sick things that are going on that I'm hoping that the judiciary will be able to take care of. But like, it's a crime now to speak against the nation of Israel. Like, wait a second here. Wait a second. I've got a free speech protected, First Amendment protected right in this country. And I'm not anti-Semitic by saying the nation of Israel might or might not be doing something that I don't agree with. And I think that it's wrong. I have a First Amendment protected free speech right to say something about it.
Well, even the new deal they're trying to make right now and extending that 10-year to 20-year because of the strife between the two countries. Why are we even doing that?
I don't know.
Like that. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, right? With the lobbying power of the people who protect that group. There's a lot of money behind it.
Yeah. And
that's what it comes down to. You have those groups, right? What was that one group? The name of it? Oh, that's embarrassing. I don't even... there's a group that comes in and funds a bunch of our politicians.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I want to say AIPAC, but it's not AIPAC.
It is AIPAC, actually.
Okay, is it AIPAC?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
When you look at the repercussions of what they're able to do because of the amount of funding and push, pull, and power they have.
Yeah.
It's just as big, if not bigger, than the doggone pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. And they are dictating a lot of the policies that come through and a lot of the deals we make with foreign countries. And we justify so much without them telling us why. And that's a problem. And it's expensive. And we need to stop.
And speaking of all of this, okay, we're going to war with Venezuela, basically, without it actually being a war, okay? Which I'm not necessarily I'm all for blowing up drug cartel boats, okay? I'm a firm believer that we do have to stop the influx of these drugs into our country, that yes, it kills millions of people over the course of time. So let's secure our southern border. Let's put our military on the southern border. Let's put our military on the northern border, and let's let our Navy and Coast Guard do their job on the east and west coast and lock this country down where you are not getting in and nothing you want is getting in unless you're going through some vetting and ensuring that we are able to make damn sure that this drug or whatever it is, or this person that's not supposed to be here, or whatever it is, does not get on our soil without there being some vetting. I don't think anybody could disagree with that. But then now all of a sudden, we're going after Venezuela. Okay? Like, wait a second. So why Venezuela?
I'm glad you brought this
and
up.
how come? But see, that's interesting because what? Why not Mexico? Why not the drug cartels in Mexico? Why not other entities or places across the globe that, to me, are much more of an evil.
Venezuela probably did something behind the scenes and pissed somebody off. Or, frankly, Trump just said, well, okay, we're going to do this because there's some interest that we will probably never know about, that we need a regime change there, which we said we wouldn't do. And people in Trump's cabinet said they don't want to be a part of that. And American people said we don't want to be a part of that anymore.
And here we go.
We're doing it. So this is where I'm saying every month that goes by, I'm seeing more and more going, you son of a buck, you marketing genius.
Yeah.
You got me hook, line, and sinker. How do I learn from that piece and then not get duped the next time? Because guess what? My hook was buried deep, and I wanted secretly so bad for him to be the best president we ever had.
So,
and he's the same damn crap that other people have been over and over again, and we continue to rinse and recycle, and American people are being beat the hell up for it.
Let's change. Let's,
Hold on
instead
just
of going
a
to the
second.
Middle East,
I have a question.
and having a war over oil and poppy fields, let's go to South America and do it now.
yeah.
And expect
So,
different
Andy,
results.
Closer transportation.
Of course.
The last time Venezuela came up on this program, I asked you, where's the line? Did he cross it for you? Is he crossing it for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The blowing up the boats, honestly, even though I hate killing, get it done. Everything after, and going in there and flying over, and the intimidation factor and all the rest of it, the peacocking and the bully, the regime change, like that's none of our business. Keep the drugs out and let them know that. And we were doing that, and then we just kept going.
And shut down.
I kinda that's the answer I
First
expected from
policies.
you. Yes.
Going back
Yeah.
to global politics, right? If we were to, I'm on one today, man. We should just, I'm telling you,
This is tanked.
Just
But
do it according to plans.
Our local 150 people will be happy.
Hey, you
and
never
our
know.
Clips are going to get,
our clips are going to
they'll
kill
do
it.
70,000 hits, but nobody's going to listen
and this
to
whole
them.
thing
They're gonna turn
started
this
with
one
them
off.
talking about a local person struggling with health insurance.
That's how we started. Now we ended with war with Venezuela. Okay, but so if you incorporate what I just said, which I'm sure is not a organic thought, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be like, yeah, I've been saying that for a long time, or I'd agree with that. What you have to do is shut off the supply. Because Venezuela is able to do what they're able to do because there's a market for it in the United States, if you're able to shut that valve off by making sure that, like I had said, nothing is getting in or out of the United States except for what is allowable, right? Then that all of a sudden dries up their ability to produce and then sell it. So it's almost like, like we could go to something here. I was reading this morning, Pornhub. Okay, Missouri just passed legislation that said that you have to have age verification. Kansas already did that, right? To try to combat the ability for these companies.
Destroyed my late nights, I'll tell
Oh
you.
my God! No, Chad.
Dang it.
No.
Dang it.
Hey, that was a joke.
Gotta
by the
make
way.
a joke somewhere. We gotta
so-
lighten this.
Woo,
Lighten the
so
That was
mood a
heavy.
little.
right?
I just had pictures in my head of guys going, boom.
You heard it. You gotta listen
Jesus?
to the whole
Is
thing
it
to get
Allah? Talk to me.
But okay, so here's the deal, right? So then Pornhub's as a company's way to deal with that is to say, well, we're just not going to offer it anymore in your state. We're just not going to offer
Yeah.
it. So if that's the case,
Well, you're going to make you pay for it, which is better for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So then, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
put
ultimately,
your credit card here because that'll verify your age.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you can watch all you want, and we are getting paid now.
Yeah.
And it made it easier for us to
Yes.
pull that cash in.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of dudes that can't help not having that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so, but with that being
100%.
said, what that proves is just even a legitimate company that sells a product or offers a product at free cost, right? Let's say just for viewership base, then if you turn off the spigot of supply, they go. So the same result could be that if we just lock down, that's what I thought when we talked about America First. That's what I thought when we talked about making America great again. That's what I thought
Focus
I
on
was
ourselves.
seeing when we were putting razor wire up and ensuring that we were using our U.S. military or National Guard to patrol the border.
And it was working.
Fix,
And it was
fix,
working.
This
fix
is-
McBroom's boat for crying out loud.
Look,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Look. All of that, because the honest to God truth is, we went from the most open border probably that we've ever had. Within there's something stupid like less than 50 crossings or something like last month or something, right? We're pretty secure.
Yeah.
And now, and we want to vet people. Great. We want to get people in here that are threats out. I have my biases towards some of that, and I don't agree with the whole situation, because I think there should be better things done for people that are here to work, because we need the workers, and we want to multiply Americans, and we want to make people love our country. How do we do that? And I want to say this because it's so important to me, because I love this country so damn much, and this is my country. Just like other people love their countries. I love America. Like, I will die for this country. And this is where my children are growing up, and my grandchildren, and we're Americans, and we're proud of that. I can go to China, but I can never be Chinese.
Yeah.
I can go to Mexico, but I'll never be Mexican. They can come here and be an American.
Yeah.
And we need to be proud of that. And we need to teach people that we want them to do that. But there is a certain level of assimilation that needs to take place of how we treat our women and how we want our culture and our Christian values that underline why this country will accept everybody, even if you're different in a different religion. We won't kill you for not being Christian.
But you can't come here and kill somebody else for not being Muslim.
Right. And we need to make this stuff plain, right? This is the part of America. There is some assimilation that needs to take place. We want to respect what you want to do in your house. But out here amongst us, our women can dress how they want. And they can go pursue careers however they see fit, just like a man. And we support them in their athletic ventures just as much as we support the men. Real cool thing, my daughter last night. I didn't realize we always support my son. And we have football and basketball on every night. He's all into it, right? That's his thing. And him and me and Stacy really like that stuff. I watch a little less. I'm working and kind of ping in, but they're on it the whole time. And especially my son, it's just what he does. And my daughter just kind of ejects herself. She's not a sports person. But she likes Penn State. And we're like, why do you like Penn State? And then there's a basketball player, WNBA basketball player that went to Penn State. And I'm like, Ava, I'm really excited that you know that. Like, that was and you know what? Do you want to watch some WNBA games together? I would love to watch that with you and watch her play. I didn't know that meant something to you. She was like, yeah, I think that would be cool sometime, Dad. And I was like, you want to do it now? Well, not right now, but yeah, I would like to start doing that with you. So I found an opportunity because of the WNBA and all the investments to now have a connection to my daughter that I didn't even realize our conditioning did not allow me to see. See, all these little things make sense over time, right? And this next generation, it's the American way, right? We can change and grow into some of this stuff and support like other countries will not do that. And so how do we bring people into that culture, into our way of life, knowing that we don't know it all, we're always changing and evolving, but our Christian values really set the platform for this country and how it operates and runs and why we're so accepting of everybody. But there are limits and boundaries and respect that need to be established. And we had that for such a long period of time. And now it's just getting chopped up. And it makes me afraid.
And it's the way we chose to change our immigration policy when we started taking in mass amounts of refugees. There was a lot of global conflict at some point in time here in our lifetime, and the way that we chose, not like we never did that before, but it became this, well, if you are running from, for instance, okay, we talk about regime change in Venezuela, and I mentioned the Middle East. If you have, let's say, Afghanistan, for instance, and you have one entity, non-Taliban, and you have another entity, Taliban. Both are fairly similar, right? But one has proven itself to be either fallen out of favor with our government or the government within the area, or might be, the Taliban is not any rule or regime I'd want to live under, right? Similar to what we're talking about. So then you have all the people that are not Talibans, okay, that are getting persecuted and would be designated as refugees from the Taliban. And even when we were there, those that helped us, right, to be able to overthrow the Taliban. Well, we all fast forward and see that the Taliban is still in power in Afghanistan after all this time or whatever, but we brought all these people here. But that doesn't mean that was the correct way to do it. In fact, I'm a firm believer that in some instances, probably in most cases, we should be focusing in on finding other countries that will take like kind with like kind, right? If you are
That's
an Afghani,
racist.
oh God, probably.
But this is
why
this is how they derail you. This is how they derail the reality of the meat and potatoes that you're setting out.
I'm talking about religious affiliation, not
and I'm
race.
not trying to say. I know that, and I know that. But there's people, a lot of people, half of this country right now, that's not gonna. They're waiting for that. To do what I just did.
Canceled.
And it's like, dude, do you hear what we're trying to say? Yeah. Some systems do not work with us and how we choose to live. And I love my country and how we live. And it's not that you hate them. It's just, they're not willing to acclimate because their beliefs are so deep. It does not coincide with ours.
Correct.
And let them do them in a better, safer place. That it's not going to be here.
Correct.
Because we're already seeing some repercussions for the last 10 years of, look at Germany.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a problem for us. And we got to learn from others instead of like, oh, well, we can do it better. Like, you can do what better? Socialism? Oh, yeah.
Theocracy?
Yeah. Oh, well, we can do it better.
Yeah.
And okay, why don't you go pilot it and show me how it works? Well, but we need all these other things to change before we can do that.
We need to be able to have this happen underneath the, once again, going back to the game board. If America is a chessboard and you're playing chess, we all have to play by the same rules or it's not chess anymore. So what happens is somebody comes in and I'm playing by the rules of chess and they're not playing by the rules of chess, but they're going to win the game because they're not playing the rules. So then what happens is if we don't sit down together, you and Andy and I, or Chad and I, and say, okay, we're going to play this game, chess. These are the rules to chess. Therefore, we both are on an equal playing field, and that game is determined by who is able to play the game in a way that's going to win based upon the rules. But if you don't play by the rules, if everything operates like a queen, if all your pawns can move like queens, that's not a game. Well, I mean, that's where we're coming up against.
And calling out, like, let's just say the oops from Tim in the Somali community that, they're uncovering all the billions of dollars and all that stuff that's happening over there in that part of the country. That was a community that strategically put themselves in play to help extract money from our system to send it to one of our enemies. And you can track that, and it's not conspiracy, all the way to somebody sitting in Congress. And he was almost our president, our vice president. And if he became our vice president, he's this close to being our president. And it's like, how much more of that is going on? Well, it's everywhere.
It's almost overwhelming.
At that level.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
So what do? We teach our kids, right? I think it comes down to that, Lance, is teach our kids, because be careful for the wolves in sheep's clothing, because I've fallen for it way too much. And the world is confusing, and it's hard to know what's right and what's up and down now. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, what are her intentions? Is she all of a sudden pure? Is she all of a sudden the right one? Is she all of a sudden real? Or is she just in a deeper part of the game trying a different route because she didn't get where she wanted to get to the way she was going about? And you just don't know.
As a Republican that's not a Trump. I said this. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we were getting close to the end of the program, but I was having a conversation, and I said me and this other individual were talking, and the reality is that you have a split amongst the Republican Party right now. You have a split amongst the Democratic Party right now. And on the Republican side, you have the party of Trump, and then you have the Republican Party. And sometimes, in some instances, those overlap, but there's a growing divide that's taking place where, well, you're over here and you're the party of the Trump because, well, if you call yourself a Republican, but at the same time, not everything Trump is doing would be considered republicanism. So if we were to have a loose definition of the two, that's similar to what it is. Just like what's going on with the Mamdani guy, who I think his name's Mamdani, I think that's how you say it, who just became the City of New York mayor, which is yes, okay, he's a Democrat, nonpartisan, of course, race, but the fact that is not necessarily representative of what the Democratic Party represents, like your classic liberal. Everything's changing, everything's evolving. Try to stay optimistic, and I guess, unless you guys have anything you want to say about anything we said, it's time for final words.
Final word. I'm gonna switch this in gears big time. The Vespers concert, the annual Treble Clef Vesper concert, is on Sunday, and this is an incredibly important year to go, because it is quite likely that this is the last time that the Treble Clef choir will ever perform. That's coming to the Kansan too. Should show up in print on Saturday, hopefully online Friday. So if you don't have something slotted in to do this weekend, and I can't imagine you don't, but if you don't, go to that concert, because the Treble Clef Club, which ceased operations a year ago, was about as old as Newton. It's been around for a long time. So go witness the end of an era.
Andy?
Holiday season is upon us, and I like to try to make this plain because I am very blessed. Even though when I've struggled different times in my career, some years are better than others. Those years you feel like you can't do what I want to do for my family, but I get to do something. Just remember that, because I don't have this, but I know a lot of people do. And Chad, you kind of woke me up to it a little bit again today. Holidays are hard for people for different reasons. And most of us try our best to enjoy it. And I truly do. I see the memories that I got to have with the people that were with me before in the past as gifts and tokens, that at least I got to have that piece. And even I do miss them, a few of my uncles and my grandmother and grandfather. As my life goes on, I'm going to lose more and more family members. I'm the oldest grandson, right, to my family, and I have a big family, and it hurts and it's a little scary to, God willing, I'll be able to send most of them off in a good way, because tragedy hasn't. It's been life and some serious health issues that's taken them, but they've got to live pretty full lives, right? But just remember that, keep your eyes out for those people that may be struggling, and just writing a letter, or just letting them know you're thinking about them, or trying to find a way to serve somebody that's struggling with this time of year. It's so real for so many people, and it's very deep, right? Because these memories, for everybody else like me, who are super pumped and happy and excited about everything that I got going on in my life, that person that doesn't have anything, maybe makes them feel worse. And I'm not doing what I'm doing to hurt those people, but I am cautiously aware that, I've got to be mindful of the realness of depression and what this season brings for a lot of people, which is loss and a gap and loneliness. And someone needs to go out for a cup of coffee. I'd be more than willing to take you out and listen to you and understand your pain and sit with you for a little while. But I'm excited about the holiday season, even at that. But try to bless somebody by just giving them some time and some encouragement.
My final word, I'm just going to send a shout out. It's something that was in the Kansan. We briefly blipped over it. That there is a new Harvey County Republicans group that has formed. It is not, what I understand for eating in the Kansan, it is not a Republican Central Committee sanctioned GOP, Harvey County GOP organization. But it aims to work in unison, in parallel with them. They have an upcoming event that's going on Saturday, December 6th from 9:30 to 10:30 at the Newton Public Library. It is going to be a legislative preview. I know that all three, the Senator Owens, Representative Anderson, and Representative King, will be there. And the idea behind it was to have a preview, which was to have these legislators come in and an opportunity for the public to talk with them before they go to Topeka, which is traditionally not what happens. What happens is there's legislative updates or reviews, not previews. So it's very important. If you want to be involved, I think it's open to the public. And I just got to say, whatever that organization needs, that I can help aid them in however necessary, I'm all for it. It's something that I've been waiting to see happen for a long time, and it's great to know that there's people that want to be involved, that are getting involved, that are trying to work in unison and unity with everyone. With everyone. Have a good one, everybody.
Very nice.